So hey gang, back here with another video. I'm going to start this series of videos this week with talking about affordable dirt bikes, and of those affordable dirt bikes, China bikes is the China options I'm going to talk about. And I'm going to set like 3 rules for this series. I'm going to do one with a couple different bikes, different manufacturers, every week on Friday. I'll release them Friday at 5 p.m. And so there's going to be 3 rules to basically the series itself. The first one is these bikes are all going to be under $5,000 MSRP. I feel like, and they're all going to be closer to that number as far as including MSRP and shipping, getting them to your door. So I feel like there are some other China bikes that I've left off of this list that are less than that. I'm not disputing how they are or how they'll work for you. I just feel like these are of higher quality, and more people who don't know about them would actually be more satisfied with what they're getting for their dollar. Under 5K MSRP. Number 2, kind of touched on it, but of better quality. I believe there's tiers in these China bikes and some of these more expensive bikes. Like if you go and get an Amazon $2,000 bike, what are you getting? So, and 3 is that they come with good components, they're good parts, and they have good upgradability. And what I mean by that is cross compatibility. Like the bike will have plastic that's KTM that it won't come with that quality on it, but you can switch it out with like KTM plastic. You could switch some parts out with Honda or KTM or Husky or stuff like that. So this week, throughout the whole series, I don't own any of these bikes. Well, I own the KO that I'll talk about at the end as being the best, but the other brands, I don't own them. So this is all from investigation, internet, people that I know who do own them, people who've contacted me and reported how these other manufacturers are and their quality. I'm not going to recommend you guys stuff that I wouldn't buy myself. All of these were things that I have thought about getting myself. And if the channel was bigger and more supportive, where I was making money from it, I would buy all these bikes, fix them up a little bit, and then resell them. That would be honestly, that would be what I would like to do. But I just find it that I can't make that kind of money, and people don't, we're in such a small niche with these China bikes that not enough people know about it. So sorry, I've been rambling. Let's get to it. So this week, I'm going to talk about the Trailmaster TM38. This bike is very surprising to me, what you get for the money, and I think once people start buying them up, they may raise the price. So I would encourage you to jump on them if you're interested in something like this. So I'm going to go over the specs. It's a 298cc counterbalanced single overhead cam, 4-valve, 31 horsepower engine with a 34 millimeter knockoff Nibby PWK carb. It's a 6-speed. There's another version of this that they sell that's a little bit less, and I'll talk to you about that in another video. But this one is a 6-speed. The suspension is KKE or a knockoff. It may not be a branded KKE, but it's KKE. I've talked to enough people to know that that's what it is. It does come with compression and rebound adjustment on it, so some of these other ones don't. So that's a good thing, front and rear. I know for a fact, I've spoke to Joe Henner. He can work on these do modifications for them. Getting springs and stuff like that in the rear is a little bit easier than the front. Front seems to be a little bit harder to get springs, but talk to Joe Henner if you're interested. He should be able to get you some help with this. Even if you can't get springs, you can change out oil. You can do valving. There's things that you can. He's got spacers that can make them a little bit better. So he's familiar with this already. The travel front and rear, from everything I can find, it's been hard to find the actual number. I believe them to be 10.5 inches, which is kind of standard for most stuff that the China bikes have. Front tire is a 21, standard. Rear tire is an 18. Most off-road bikes, trail bikes, have 18-inch tires, so that's good. The seat height is claimed at 37 inches. I've heard 36, somewhere in that neighborhood, which is a standard full-size dirt bike. Your KTMs, your Kawasaki's, your Hondas, they're all right around there. Does come with an aluminum swing arm. I was able to verify that. It doesn't look like it because it's colored black, but it is aluminum. The rims themselves are 7116 aluminum rims with cast hubs. 7116 is what I would call medium to actually kind of 3/4. If they're an aluminum rim, they come with decent sized spokes. They are not the highest, so they are definitely for off-road and trail use. I wouldn't say they are a competitive motocross type rim. All rims are decent if you keep the spokes tight. So I will say with the ones that all of the rims of the bikes that I'm going to talk about in this series are aluminum rims of decent quality that won't flatten out on you. Like there was a history of a certain manufacturer who was blowing out rims left and right, and even they upgraded their rims the following year. So these are decent quality 7116 aluminum, decent quality rims for off-roading, trail riding. Maybe not the highest peak level of like a motocross bike, but still good quality. 240 millimeter disc brakes front and rear. The front has dual calibers. The rear is single, kind of standard of what all these bikes that I'm going to recommend to you. It is electric and kickstart, so it does have the kickstart backup lever. You can take it off. That's what I do. But I guess if you're riding more long rides, trail rides, you might come to a scenario where your battery dies and you might want to keep that kick lever on. All of the bikes that I'm going to recommend, from what I've tried, I've tried a couple sitting on them in the showrooms. They all seem to hit the frame somehow with those kick levers, so they're not the easiest thing to kick over in the first place, but they have them as a backup. This particular bike comes with a 520 chain. It's not the DID like on the KO, but it's a Chinese chain, 520. It'll probably stretch pretty good in the beginning. The gearing is 1351. I would encourage you to look at maybe going up on the rear to get a little bit more torque. It will drop your top end down a little bit, but I think it helps to bring space everything together with the gearing. I went with a 53 on my bike, which has similar horsepower and a 6-speed. So here's where I'm going to get into a little notch of where I wouldn't think this is the difference between why a Japanese bike would be more expensive no matter what. The steel that they use on this is called it's mild steel. Some people might call it China steel. It's not as thick, and it's definitely not the higher end of, like my bike and the GPX come with chrome moly steel frames. Everything else comes with more of a mild steel frame, or like the SSRs and the EGL model, some of them have an aluminum frame. But getting back to this, I'm not saying that to make you be afraid of this frame. This frame is basically a copy of a KTM350, like 2009 to, I think it was 12 or 13 era. But they're not using chrome moly steel. They're using this more mild steel, thinner walled, and obviously per price point. I don't necessarily even call it a negative. It's just per price point you're going to get this kind of level, and it just kind of is what it is. It's not motocross type high end, high spec. Will it work for off-road? Abso-freaking-lutely. It's strong enough for that. It's, you can jump. I'm not saying you can't jump. It's just not, don't buy this bike thinking that you can go be Joe Fast Guy at the motocross track. And do multiple seasons of motocross. It's just, at some point, if you're not going to take it to a welder and reinforce certain areas, you'll probably run into issues if you ride it that hard. But if you're doing like hard enduro, off-road, desert, out in the desert, East Coast trail riding, single track, it's fine for that. Actually, it's on the medium to high end of steel rating. I'm not trying to say it wasn't a good steel. It just is a thinner walled steel. Don't be afraid of buying one. I'm just I'm saying it to put out the information so people are informed. It has about 12 inches of ground clearance is what I've been able to find. I don't have anybody that actually gave me the exact measurement for that, but it's about 12 to 13 inches of ground clearance, which is good, common, normal dirt bike height. It does come with an aluminum, it's not quite a skid plate, it's kind of a case guard. It runs between the frame rails, but it definitely will protect anything any kind of rocks or anything going up and busting your cases on the bottom side. Comes with folding levers, aluminum folding levers, so if you fall they bend out of the way. Comes with a headlight. Comes with aluminum bars, the bigger aluminum bars. Let's see here. Claimed weight of 240 pounds with gas and oil. That's not bad. That's actually pretty dang good. I have to see if anyone else can verify it though, but that's the claimed weight. Someone told me in a comment to me personally that they had gas and oil in it, and it was right around that 238 to 240 pounds. The tank is 1.7 gallons. It's not quite 2, so it's pretty good range considering these bikes are not that bad on fuel. So the plastic is knockoff KTM, 2014, 2009 to like 14. I may have the years wrong, but in that era, SXF 350 KTM plastic will swap all the way over on this bike. As a matter of fact, even on someone pointed out, even on the underside of the rear fender, it's actually printed on there. It says KTM. So the last thing I'm going to touch on is the bling parts. Tons and tons of bling parts are available for this particular model. On AliExpress is where you would go to get a lot of it. Just put in Zongshin NC250 or NC300, and you'll see dress-up kits. You'll see covers for the magneto cover and for the clutch cover. I don't know, lots of bling parts. I can't even name them all. So I think I've touched everything that I really wanted to touch on about this bike. It's a very good bike. That NC300 engine, especially this 298cc one, is more common. It's more of a world kind of engine. It's everywhere else. Now they're kind of bringing them around here. Yeah, I haven't heard anything bad about the valves. You can adjust these very easily because they have the valve covers. You just take off the covers and use a feeler gauge and set the valves. The tires that come on it aren't that bad. They're okay for off-road, but you can replace them. I mean, they're standard size, so why not go with the really good stuff like the Shinkos or Metzlers, Dunlops. All those can go on there, and you would actually be saving weight because stock tires are usually higher in weight. So that's about it. I don't know, not owning every bike that I'm going to talk about, I won't be able to have all the information on them. But I want to give you one last thing. I'm going to put a link in the description to a gentleman who does own the bike and has done a ton of upgrades to the bike already. His name is Josh Yelton, and I'm going to put a link to one of his videos, well, maybe even two of them. I might put it in there, that discuss a walk around of the bike and all the kind of upgrades that he's done and things that he knows already that are available that you can switch out. Like they're going to take Honda rotors in the front and rear. I know you can put a Honda sprocket on the back. So these are some of the things. You'll be able to find them all. I know these are a little bit longer, but I hope you'll tune in every week here in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be talking about, furthermore, the SSR, the EGLs, the KOs. I may throw in another one or two that I think are quality bikes that are out here now that, they fit a market that the Japanese aren't touching. I won't call them entry level, but these off-road bikes, dirt bikes for the average man that average people can afford and work on. And the only thing is, you're not going to go to a dealer and get the parts. You're going to have to do internet searches. You're going to have to do swap compatibility between other manufacturers and get their stuff that way. But you're not going to have that support. Your support's going to come from groups on the internet, like your Facebook groups. Most bikes now have a group. I've made a couple for my bikes, and that's where you'll be with those kind of things to get help. A lot of people in there are knowledgeable and have bought these bikes, bought parts, can tell you where to go to get things. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Keep on watching every Friday. I'm going to do these the next couple of weeks, and I'll see you in the next one.